I played 12 games of Pokemon Leaf Green at the exact same time. That means one controller is paired to 12 instances of Pokemon, all running simultaneously. When I click a button, it registers in all games, no matter what is happening. With all this craziness, let's see how long it takes me to beat 12 games of Leaf Green. I start the games up, and the first thing I notice is that they're all running at slightly different speeds. Synchronizing the games as much as possible is key, and this will make it a bit trickier. Professor Oak asks me for my name, which sometimes comes out as Ryan, and other times doesn't. My rivals' names are even more ridiculous. We start our journey and, okay, I need to pause for a sec. I actually lied to you all. I'm not playing 12 games of Pokemon. I'm playing 13. There's a secret 13th game running as well, but I'm not going to look at it until the challenge is over. We can see how far that game makes it. Put your predictions for where that game will end up in the comments below. We'll see how close everybody gets. While you're down there, you should subscribe to the channel. It's completely free and it helps me out a ton. I head out of my house and to Professor Oak's lab. Since the cutscenes are slightly off, I think it'd be fun to have some variety. So I end up picking 5 Squirtles, 3 Charmanders, and 4 Bulbasaurs. I guess we'll really find out which starter is the best. Against my rival, I win in some games and lose in others. But it doesn't really change anything. I can now start my journey up to Viridian City. Moving as a cohesive unit isn't always easy. When you walk through tall grass, wild Pokemon will attack, leaving you in different locations in all of your games. If I'm not careful, I can even black out and be sent back to a far away location. Luckily, I have a few tricks I can use to get everybody back together. The first is a strategy I call dialogue pausing. When characters in some games enter a dialogue, I can only progress by using A and B. The direction keys don't do anything, so I can freely move the games that are behind to catch up with the other games. Now, everybody is in sync and we can continue. I decide to fight my rival since it's extra experience, and there's no downside if I lose. Now I can start to make my way through the Viridian Forest. To keep my games in sync as I navigate through difficult routes, I'm using a trick called cornering. A corner on the map will allow me to use a bunch of directional inputs and generally stay in the same place. Just like dialogue pausing, it allows me to bring the straggler games back up with everybody else. Viridian Forest is a bit tricky since there's a good chance your Pokemon will get poisoned. In Gen 3, a poisoned Pokemon will slowly die as you walk around, and since I only have one Pokemon in all my games, dying of poison means getting sent back to the Pokemon Center, so there's a bit of catching up that needs to be done. All in all, it takes me about 20 minutes to get through Viridian Forest. But now I'm in Pewter City, where I can take on Brock to get the first badge. Finally, there's enough Brocks to match up with Nurse Joy. Battling in sync is a delicate dance, since the move that might be best in one game isn't the best in another, especially when I have different starter Pokemon. Squirtle and Bulbasaur games can easily take this gym, but Charmander games are gonna have a much harder time. So I decide to focus on the easy games first. I spam Bubble in my Squirtle games to give me an easy win in all 5. A few games are already lost now, so I can focus on the ones that are still going and win in 2 more Bulbasaur games. With 5 games left, I focus on the other 2 Bulbasaur games, and now I just have the Charmander games left. Onix has a quick kill on Charmander with Rock Tomb, but by fishing for a burn with Ember, I can significantly minimize its damage, which leads me to a victory in the first Charmander game. A few tries later, and I get the burn in the second and third Charmander games. It also helps that Charmander is strong enough to evolve now. Just under an hour, and we have the first badge in all 12 games. I move on through Route 3, fighting the trainers along the way, and making it to the next Pokemon Center in about a half an hour. It's time for me to trek through Mount Moon now. Caves are difficult to sync up, since wild Pokemon can attack you at any point. This is where I developed a new strategy. That would be start menu pausing. Inevitably, in time-consuming areas like this one, I'll be blacking out and getting sent back to the Pokemon Center outside Mount Moon. While I navigate back, I need to keep the rest of the games close together. By clicking start at the right time, I can pause all the games in the cave and continue moving in my straggler game. I will need to click A and B as I fight wild Pokemon, but by timing everything right, I can stay in the menu, and eventually the straggler games will catch back up. I have to do this a few times for different games, but just under an hour later, my games are out of the cave and into Cerulean City. Cerulean is the home of Misty, and this is where we hit the first major hurdle of the challenge. Ivysaur certainly has the easiest time against Misty, but even those games aren't free. In my first attempt against Misty, I have an Ivysaur game lose, and I have a Wartortle game win. The remaining Ivysaur game wins on the next attempt, and after a few more tries, all the Wartortle games are also successful. The Charmeleon games are really tough though. Charmeleon takes massive damage from Water Pulse, and it really can't do anything to Misty's Pokemon. Most of the time, Charmeleon can't even get past Staryu. I figure throwing myself at Misty will result in failure, so I'm going to skip Misty for now and lead all of my games to the required task north of Cerulean. For the Charmeleon games, this will allow me to either get more experience or have an opportunity to catch a grass Pokemon. The thing about heading north though is you need to fight your rival. If you're playing this game like a normal person, the rival fight is usually easy, and this rival fight in particular is extra easy. However, I only have one Pokemon, and in each game, his highest Pokemon is a direct counter to mine, making him challenging across the board. It takes me a few attempts to win even once. I start to win in a few more games, but Ivysaurs are definitely having the hardest time, since they have a bad matchup against Blue's other Pokemon. Thanks to a combination of Leech Seed and Sleep Powder, we eventually make it through. We help Bill out of his Clefairy suit without asking any follow-up questions, and finally we can take on Misty again. All of my Charmeleons are level 27 now, and just need a bit of luck with Misty's move selections and Mega Punch accuracy. We claim the second badge in all games, but it takes over an hour from when we first walked into the gym. Now I can head south through the underground tunnel and make it to Vermilion City. Here I need to board the SS Sand and fight my rival once again. I beat my rival on the first try in 5 games, including all 3 Charmeleon games. All my Wartortle games are successful soon after, and like usual, the Ivysaur games have a bit of a tough time, but eventually I defeat my rival in all 12. I can take on the third gym now, but to get inside, I need to use the move Cut. Charmeleon and Ivysaur can learn Cut, but Wartortle can't. So I need to catch a Cut Pokemon in those games. Since I'm catching Pokemon anyway, I decide to make sure I can catch a Pokemon that knows Fly in all games as well. I don't need this yet, but I know I will. This process involves chucking a lot of balls at random Pokemon, and then I go one by one, making sure everyone knows Cut. I go into the gym and defeat all the trainers, but this gym puzzle is different in every game, so it's impossible to do in sync. I leverage as much simultaneous movement as I can, but I truly need to go game by game and unlock the gate. It takes a little bit, but I eventually find both buttons in every game. Now it's time to take on Lieutenant Surge. My overleveled Charmeleons can sweep through with Ember and Mega Punch, my Ivysaurs can take the electric moves well, and outlast my opponent by spamming grass moves, and even the susceptible Wartortles can win by using Mega Punch. Lieutenant Surge is a breeze, and we quickly get the third badge. I make it through Route 9 and 10, and now it's time for the second major hurdle. Wait, that's stupid. Let me try something else. Well, that's not better. It doesn't even make sense. Hold on. No. No. Rock Tunnel is a long, dark cave that isn't any fun to do in a normal playthrough. Here, I need to contend with wild Pokemon and trainers while trying to pay attention to 12 different games. Oftentimes, I found myself a bit lost here. Did I already go down the ladder to the next floor? Or did I make a wrong turn somewhere? There are a few times where I get sent back and have to use the strategies I talked about earlier to catch back up. All things said and done, it takes me about an hour and a half to get through. Now I can go from Lavender to Celadon to take on Erica. The Charizard games have no trouble, but understandably, the Blastoise and Venusaur games take a little bit longer. This one Blastoise game in particular, I just couldn't win. Erica's Pokemon get so much HP back from Giga Drain, and getting paralyzed doesn't help either. I also have $0 in this game, so I can't really buy any potions. Eventually, I get a game with good flinch and paralyze RNG, and we can finally move past Erica. Next, I need to head down to the Rocket Hideout to take on this Geo dude. He's a pushover though, and I beat him in 8 games on the first try, and the other 4 on the second try. In the Pokemon Tower, I have another rival fight. These have always given me trouble, but this time, his highest Pokemon is 25, and mine are all in the low 40s. So I actually win on the first try in every game. Pretty surprising result. Navigating the Pokemon Tower itself is actually the hard part. The movements are very precise, and there's plenty of Ghastly to distract you as you traverse the tower. Thankfully, once you get to the top, Mr. Fuji teleports you out of the tower, so you only have to go up and not down. Silphco presents me with a new challenge I haven't encountered yet: stairs. The stairs in Silphco are designed in a way so you can't just hold one direction to go up or down. You have to switch between left and right to go up the stairs. That means if you're on multiple floors across multiple games, there's no easy way to get everybody to the same floor. I finally got everyone together, but it shouldn't have taken me this long. Blue must have hacked in rare candies or something, because 15 minutes later, and all of his Pokemon are way stronger. So much so that I lose in every game. I got owned so badly that I decided to skip that fight for now and venture on. Right now, my teams have one overleveled starter and a bunch of underleveled HM users. I need to flesh out my team with a few stronger Pokemon. So I try to catch Snorlax in as many games as I can, and I'm successful in about half of them. I slowly work my way down Cycling Road and make it to Fuchsia City. Here I can take on the Poison Gym Leader, Koga. Charizard can spam Flamethrower for a pretty easy win, but Venusaur's damage output is really low, and Blastoise doesn't have a strong water move to do damage with. Using a combination of Sleep Powder, Leech Seed, and Snorlax, I'm able to win in all my Venusaur games. So now I just have the Blastoise games. There's a strong water move that I have access to, but to get it, I need to go through the Safari Zone. If you weren't familiar, the Safari Zone counts the number of steps that you take, and after you hit the limit, it will kick you out. Efficient movement isn't exactly my strong suit in this challenge, so I'm extremely nervous for this part of the game. However, my caution leads me to be extremely efficient in my steps, and I do everything I need to do on my first attempt in all 12 games. This gives me access to the HM Surf. I teach Surf in all my Blastoise games, and easily surf my way to victory against Koga. My teams are stronger now, so I head back to Silphco. However, my rival is still extremely powerful. I win in my Charizard games, and I slowly claim victories in my Blastoise games as well. It should be no surprise that my Venusaur games really struggle with this one, and it takes me another 45 minutes or so to claim all victories. I'm very glad I never gave up on Sleep Powder or Leech Seed, because those moves are the only way I can win this fight. It takes me a few tries to beat Giovanni, but he's not too hard. My rival fights have been the most consistently challenging thing in this playthrough. Trying to think ahead through the rest of the game, I realize that Blue is the champion, and I'll have to fight a super beefed up version of his team at the end of the Elite Four. I need to start planning for that challenge. That means picking up as many moderately strong Pokemon as I can, including the Lapras in Silphco, the Eevee in Celadon, and the Hitmonlee in Saffron. They're all level 25, so they're not that strong, but they're better than nothing, or better than a level 12 Pidgey. I don't know about those level 18 Bellsprout though. They are gods. Sabrina tends to be one of the hardest gym leaders in Kanto, but for me, she's actually one of the easiest. Her Pokemon are pretty frail, so Blastoise and Charizard can just surf and flamethrower their ways to victory. Venusaur is weak to psychic moves, so I need to pay a bit more attention to those games, but I only lose against Sabrina in one game on the first try, so getting the 6th badge is a breeze. Now I can teach Fly to all my previously caught birds, and ride those beaked beauties over to Pallet Town. Using the Lapras from Silphco, I surf down to Cinnabar Island. Now I need to make my way through the Pokemon Mansion. I need to go all the way down and then all the way back out, so it takes me about 45 minutes to get through. Blaine and his fire Pokemon are next. I know I'll have an easy time with Blastoise, so I focus on those games first for quick victories. Charizard is safe to fire attacks, and can win by spamming Wing Attack. Of course, Venusaurs have the hardest time here, but with the tried and true method of Sleep Powder, plus the newly learned Synthesis, I can eventually take down Blaine. But it does take about 45 minutes of attempts. You know, people always talk about Bulbasaur being the best starter for this game. That's undeniable for the first 2 or 3 gyms, but Venusaur really falls off after that. I think I'm fully in the Squirtle is the best Kanto starter camp. I'm very careful to decline the mission to one island, as that would just be a huge waste of time. I know that a leveled up version of my current team is not going to be good enough to beat the Elite Four. I need to catch something else. Mewtwo is not available until the post-game, but there is another legendary Pokemon that I can catch. I fly over to the power plant, so I can catch Zapdos. Zapdos's electric type brings something new to the table, and electric coverage is pretty good in this Elite Four. So to make sure I don't misuse my Master Ball, I go one by one and catch Zapdos in all 12 games. However, Zapdos far from guarantees me an easy Elite Four win. Unlike, say, Rayquaza in Emerald, Zapdos isn't level 70, it's level 50. With Elite Four Pokemon going all the way up to level 63, I'm definitely going to need to beef Zapdos up. Before I worry about that too much, I need to finish the rest of the plot. I head to Viridian to take on the 8th gym leader, Giovanni. Giovanni is usually really easy, but here, he's also really easy. I have no idea how you'd have trouble with this gym. I beat Giovanni on the first try in every single game. I do have one more rival fight before I meet him as the champion. He seems to alternate between really easy and really hard, so this time he was really easy, and I picked up victories in every Blastoise and Charizard game on the first try. I used Zapdos and Snorlax to help me claim victories in the Venusaur games. Now it's time for... In this game, Victory Road is hard for one reason and one reason only: the strength puzzles. The stones need to be moved in a very precise way. Wild Pokemon can attack you while you're moving them, causing all of my games to get out of sync. One wrong move and you need to reset the room, but you only want to reset the room in that game and not the other games. It took me forever just to get the first puzzle. I knew this wasn't sustainable, so I decided to try something else. You've probably been yelling at your screen this entire time. Why aren't you using repels? Well, let me explain my thought. Repels are an extra expense, and I need all the money I can for Hyper Potions for the Elite Four. Repels in this game also don't ask you if you want to use another one, so that can throw all of the games off. Honestly, I figured it just wasn't worth the hassle, but the strength puzzle took so much out of me that I was willing to try anything. And guys, repels make everything so easy. What the hell was I thinking? When my repels run out, I can just find a wild Pokemon, run away, and use another one all in sync. It makes the strength puzzles so much easier. I really should have been doing this the entire time. After using repels, I can get through Victory Road in about 30 minutes. And now, we find ourselves in the final part of this challenge. The Pokemon in the Elite Four range from level 51 on Lorelei's team to level 63 on Blue's team. I have a starter in the high 50s, a level 50 Zapdos, and a bunch of under-leveled Pokemon. You probably won't be surprised to hear that my first attempt at the Elite Four does not go well. Despite sending out Zapdos against Lorelei's water Pokemon, Zapdos can't consistently kill them, and they often retaliate with ice moves, which do a lot of damage to Zapdos. Some of my starters can come in to clean up the fight, but most of them can't. On my first attempt, only 3 games make it past Lorelei, and all of them lose to Bruno. I'm not even close to beating this game. I try a few more times with no additional success, and I even try to play one game at a time, but that doesn't seem to be helping either. My team just isn't strong enough. So it's time to perform the most heinous act ever created. It's time to grind. I go to Victory Road and focus on grinding up my Zapdos. Grinding in 12 games at once is actually a challenge, and I refuse to grind one game at a time. Once I find a wild Pokemon in all 12 games, I'll click either Drill Peck or Steel Wing. That will kill about half of the Pokemon, and then I use the other move to kill the other half. This process is a bit slow, but it's more consistent than just winging it, because I can guarantee that my Zapdos are gaining experience. When Zapdos dies, my starter is right behind, ready to soak up any extra experience. I spend about 3 hours grinding, which gets my Zapdos to the high 50s and my starter to the low 60s. It's not great, but it's certainly better than it was before. I also teach all my Zapdoses Thunder, so they have a powerful electric attack, as well as a weaker accurate one. It's time to try this again. This time, all but 2 games pass Lorelei, and 2 games pass Bruno. Not great, but definitely an improvement. On the very next try, 5 games make it to Agatha, and 2 games even make it to Lance. On the try after that, I have a game make it all the way to the champion. And although I lose, this makes me realize that when I pay attention to 1 game at a time, I can make it really far. So I start focusing on 1 game at a time. By the way, even though I'm focused on 1 game, the inputs are still running to the other games. I've just trapped them in a Pokemon Center, so they can't move around very much. At this point, I also stock up on revives and hyper potions. In some games, I have no money, so those games won't be my focus right now. Finally, I start having some success. Zapdos can take Lorelei's team as long as I get good thunder accuracy. The starters can handle Bruno's Onix, and Zapdos can use Drill Peck for Bruno's fighting types. The starter can mostly handle Agatha, and Zapdos is the ace against Lance, and the champion has a diverse team, so I need to switch between the 2. Playing on switch mode is absolutely the key here, so I can switch in whichever Pokemon does the most damage. 27 hours into the challenge, and we have the first victory. Thanks to a healthy dosage of revives and hyper potions, I'm able to win on each of my Charizard and Blastoise games on the first try. Strong Surfs and Flamethrowers, paired with powerful Thunders from Zapdos, allow us to win 1 by 1. Venusaur games have the hardest time, as these tend to have the least amount of money for healing items, due to more losses across the run. I need to be very careful using healing items, only utilizing them when I'm sure the run will go all the way. Thanks to more sleep powder strategies, I win my first Venusaur game. But the next 2 take me a bit longer, and I'm really struggling in this last Venusaur game. After many attempts, I finally come out on top. After 33 hours, 15 minutes, and 44 seconds, I've beaten 12 games of Pokemon Leaf Green. But wait, where's that 13th game? Did it pick a starter? Did it get a badge? Maybe it even beat the Elite Four. Okay, so it looks like we're still on Route 1. Let's check the Pokemon out. We have a level 19 Charmander named Ag, and we have no badges. Well, it looks like we never got the Pokedex. So this game has probably been fighting level 2 Rattata for 33 hours. If you predicted that this game went nowhere, congratulations, you're right. If you enjoyed this video, definitely check out my 12 games of Emerald playthrough on screen now, or check out one of my Nuzlocke challenges. Also, it would be amazing if you subscribe to the channel and like the video. Thanks so much for watching.